The red light dies without warning. The slack-jawed corpse with a metal collar tilts its head, listening to something no one else can hear. A screen cuts through the street, then stops abruptly. By the time doors open, something is already dragging itself across trimmed lawns. The thin pale boy with short brown hair watches from behind a hedge. He doesn't call for help. He only notices the collar flicker back to red. By morning, officials call it an animal attack. The broad-shouldered man with a square jaw promises tighter inspections. The town believes him because the wall still hums. The hum means safety, or so they've been taught. Inside one tidy home, the blonde woman with sharp cheekbones adjusts the corpse's tie. She calls it help. Her husband calls it insurance. The tall rigid man with combed gray hair refuses to touch the remote. He keeps it on the table like it might bite. That afternoon, the thin pale boy with short brown hair takes the corpse outside. He throws a ball. It doesn't understand. From the trees, laughter echoes. Someone else is watching the experiment. The corpse lunges suddenly, not at the boy, but at a figure stepping too close. The collar flashes red again. Blood stains the sand before the collar stabilizes. The thin pale boy with short brown hair doesn't scream this time. That night, he washes dirt from stiff hands in the tool-filled garage. He finds a surgical scar across the corpse's chest. The tall rigid man with combed gray hair notices nothing. He only asks if the remote battery was changed. By dawn, another body is reported near the public botanical garden. Officials say the wall remains uncompromised. The thin pale boy with short brown hair hears whispers about malfunctioning collars. He checks his own secretly. For a second, it flickers again. For a second, the corpse leans closer than before. Across town, the broad-shouldered man with a square jaw orders quiet investigations. He doesn't report upward. On one screen, the corpse stands still for minutes without command. It looks almost patient. The thin pale boy with short brown hair decides not to tell anyone about the garden. Silence feels safer. That evening, the hum of the electric perimeter wall skips for half a second. Only the corpses seem to know. The power stabilizes instantly. Officials blame routine maintenance, but 3 new disappearances are logged before sunrise. The thin pale boy with short brown hair finds scratch marks along his backyard fence. They weren't there yesterday. The slack-jawed corpse with a metal collar stares at the marks longer than he does. Its head tilts as if recognizing them. At the neighborhood funeral hall, 2 coffins arrive instead of 1. The explanation is sealed paperwork and forced smiles. The tall rigid man with combed gray hair watches the separation ritual, head in one casket, body in another. He doesn't blink. Later that night, a grave in the public botanical garden shifts. No alarm triggers. The thin pale boy with short brown hair follows faint dragging trails beyond the path lights. He doesn't bring the remote. Behind him, the slack-jawed corpse with a metal collar moves without being commanded. Its steps are slow, deliberate. A hand bursts from the soil. Not wild. Not frantic. Just reaching. The slack-jawed corpse with a metal collar crushes the hand instantly. The collar flashes but holds. The thin pale boy with short brown hair backs away, unsure whether he was protected or controlled. The next morning, inspections increase. Collars are scanned house by house. No defects are officially recorded. In the tool-filled garage, the elderly man with round glasses reveals something quietly: collars don't fail randomly. He says interference must be external. The thin pale boy with short brown hair doesn't ask from where. That evening, the hum of the electric perimeter wall dips again. This time, lights across town flicker. In the outer wasteland trench, figures gather just beyond the barrier. They do not wander. They wait. Security cameras in the surveillance room glitch simultaneously. Static replaces movement for 9 seconds. When footage returns, one domesticated corpse is missing from inventory logs. No breach is recorded. The thin pale boy with short brown hair finds muddy footprints inside his kitchen. They lead to the back door. The slack-jawed corpse with a metal collar stands exactly where it should be. Its shoes are clean. At midnight, distant gunfire echoes from the electric perimeter wall. It stops too quickly. Morning announcements claim a drill was conducted successfully. Residents applaud compliance. The elderly man with round glasses warns the thin pale boy with short brown hair not to trust the red light completely. That afternoon, the slack-jawed corpse with a metal collar freezes mid-step for 12 seconds. No command was issued. Across town, another grave in the public botanical garden collapses inward. No one is there to see it. The broad-shouldered man with a square jaw orders all domesticated corpses recalled for diagnostics. Resistance builds quietly. The tall rigid man with combed gray hair refuses to surrender his unit. He claims it functions perfectly. That night, the hum of the walls stops entirely. Silence spreads like a held breath. Beyond it, movement begins in the outer wasteland trench. Not chaotic, coordinated. Inside town limits, 3 collars blink out at once. None belong to the same street. The thin pale boy with short brown hair hears glass break 2 houses away. He locks his door but doesn't feel safer. The slack-jawed corpse with a metal collar turns toward the sound before he does. The red light flickers uncertainly. Emergency sirens activate too late. The electric perimeter wall remains dark. The broad-shouldered man with a square jaw realizes the failure wasn't outside. It started inside the grid. In the tool-filled garage, the elderly man with round glasses whispers that someone rewrote the collar frequency. Before he can explain further, the power cuts completely. The red light on the collar dies. The slack-jawed corpse with a metal collar does not attack immediately. It simply steps closer. Outside, distant screams multiply. The silence between them grows shorter. The thin pale boy with short brown hair grips a shovel from the garage wall. His hands stop shaking first. The corpse's jaw tightens. Then the red light flickers back on for a single unstable pulse. The red light stabilizes for 3 seconds. Then it dies permanently. The slack-jawed corpse with a metal collar lunges forward. The thin pale boy with short brown hair swings first. Metal cracks bone. The corpse collapses but does not stop moving. The tall rigid man with combed gray hair bursts inside too late to help. He sees the shovel rise again. The second strike ends the movement. Silence fills the garage, thick and irreversible. Outside, the electric perimeter wall sparks violently back to life. Something has forced the grid online. The broad-shouldered man with a square jaw locks down every district. No one enters or exits. But inside the perimeter, uncollared figures roam freely. The wall protects nothing now. The blonde woman with sharp cheekbones gathers supplies. She does not look at the garage floor. The elderly man with round glasses arrives breathless. He says the signal came from the factory. The thin pale boy with short brown hair decides they cannot hide. If the signal continues, every collar will fail. They drive toward the industrial factory floor while sirens echo behind them. Streets are not empty anymore. Inside, conveyor belts run without supervision. Collars hang in rows, pulsing faint interference. The elderly man with round glasses identifies a broadcast tower at the center of the machinery. It's amplifying a recall code. The recall code isn't a malfunction. It's a reset command, forcing callers offline simultaneously. He admits the system was failing slowly. A controlled collapse would justify permanent martial rule. The tall rigid man with combed gray hair realizes the wall was never meant to protect them. It was meant to trap them. Below, movement gathers at the factory gates. Uncollared figures press inward from the streets. The elderly man with round glasses begins rewiring the broadcast tower. He needs 3 minutes. The broad-shouldered man with a square jaw draws a weapon. He says chaos proves his point. The tall rigid man with combed gray hair steps into the line of fire. He doesn't step aside. A shot echoes. The tall rigid man with combed gray hair falls against steel grating. The thin pale boy with short brown hair does not freeze this time. He runs toward the control panel. Factory doors buckle under pressure. The uncollared crowd forces an opening. The elderly man with round glasses shouts that the override is ready. It will fry every active collar permanently. Permanent means no more control. Ever. The broad-shouldered man with a square jaw fires again. The elderly man with round glasses slips from the ladder. The thin pale boy with short brown hair pulls the switch anyway. A surge ripples across the grid. Collars across town explode in sparks. The broadcast tower collapses inward under overload. Steel fractures. The broad-shouldered man with a square jaw loses footing as the catwalk tilts violently.